I always say it's a team effort to get these things done. So I want to give a special shout out to all the staff because without the staff, these things just do not happen. So we're very grateful. I always say when we work together, all levels of government, there's nothing we can't accomplish. And here in Hamilton, we're working closely with the mayor and council to ensure that this growing city has the critical infrastructure it needs for today and tomorrow. Our government is making historic investments in healthcare. We've invested over $20 million to support planning for the redevelopment and expansion of local hospitals and emergency departments. We boosted pediatric funding by $30 million at McMaster Children's Hospital and West Lincoln Memorial Hospital and St. Joseph's Healthcare Hamilton. We're investing almost $28 million to build and expand schools that together will accommodate 840 more students. We're tackling bumper-to-bumper traffic by building Highway 413 and are making progress on the 14-kilometer Hamilton LRT project with land acquisition and demolition works already started. We're also working closely with all of our municipalities across the province to build at least 1.5 million new homes so that we can keep costs down for people and help rebuild Ontario's economy. Building this many homes, it requires partnerships with our great mayors and councillors. I'm not going to override municipal planning to force 4, 6, 8-story buildings in the middle of every neighborhood across Ontario. Imagine the disaster with parking on local streets. Queen's Park doesn't know best. Instead, I believe in collaboration. I believe in working together. I believe in setting clear targets and holding municipalities accountable and rewarding them for their success. Mayors and councillors are developing and implementing the plans they need to build homes, the right plans and the right mix of housing types for their communities. As they do, we're giving municipalities the tools they need to get it done, including strong mayor powers. And now, $3 billion in funding for Housing Enabling Infrastructure Fund, as we announced yesterday. We're going to continue to be here to support our amazing mayors and councillors as they get shovels in the ground to build more homes. That's because municipalities know their communities best. They're the closest to the ground. As I always say, when you're a councillor, you're a mayor, you're on their front doorstep listening to the people. They know where it makes sense to build homes. They know where it doesn't. And together, we're going to build at least 1.5 million homes. Here in Hamilton, Mayor Horwath and Council are punching above their weight when it comes to housing. Last summer, we introduced the Building Faster Fund. This new fund is a 3-year, $1.2 billion program that's rewarding municipalities for the progress they're making against their annual housing targets. And I'm so pleased to say that Hamilton has exceeded its target for 2023, breaking ground on 4,142 new homes. Just think of that. That's over 4,000 families that are going to have a roof over their head that they might otherwise not have, which is just amazing, that number. So today I'm pleased to present the City of Hamilton with a Building Faster Fund check for more than $17.5 million. These funds can be used by the City of Hamilton for community development and infrastructure projects that lay the groundwork for more housing. This is such a great accomplishment. I want to congratulate the mayor and council and the staff for exceeding their targets. My challenge to you is keep building so that we can keep the dream of home ownership alive for more families. And we'll be here to support you every step of the way. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'd like to hand it over to the mayor. Thanks, Ryan.
Well, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well on this warm spring day. I'm not going to speak for very long because I want the Premier to be able to get safely back down the highway. Apparently, it's going to start snowing at some point soon, and we want to make sure everybody is going to be safe in their travels. But I am really happy to be here today. Very, very pleased to be here with Premier Ford and to welcome you to the City of Hamilton, Premier, as well as our local MPPs, Minister Neil Lumsden and MPP Donna Skelly. This space is no stranger to MPP Skelly, having served on council here in her past endeavours. I also want to acknowledge that we have with us Marnie Clucky, who's our, we keep saying new city manager, but I think she's had a bit of a baptism by fire, and I'm sure she doesn't feel very new anymore, but she's doing a great job, and it's great to see you here as well, city manager. Our City Council has been very, very clear. Increasing the supply of housing across the spectrum is our top priority. Hamilton is a growing city. Our population is on track to surpass 800,000 residents by 2051, and it's not hard to understand why. Hamilton has a diversified economy, a talented workforce, a thriving cultural scene, world-class post-secondary institutions, and so much more. It's no wonder more and more people are choosing to call Hamilton home. But with this growth comes a responsibility to ensure that every resident has a place to call home, a place where they feel safe and can thrive. Hamilton needs a range and mix of housing types to meet the needs of our residents and to assure affordability. And that's why I'm so pleased that in 2023, a little over a year ago, we took the initiative to sign Hamilton's Housing Pledge, committing Hamilton to accelerating the creation of 47,000 new homes by 2031. Thanks to the hard work of our city staff, as the Premier has acknowledged, and I want to say, Premier, I appreciate the acknowledgement. We were talking earlier when the Premier arrived. He was talking to some of our staff and just sharing with them his gratitude, and that's gratitude that I have as well. We make decisions as elected folks, but it's the people on the ground who do the work day in and day out that really achieve what needs to be achieved, no matter what decisions various orders of government make. And so really want to say thanks to the hard work of our city staff, of council, of community stakeholders, and of our partners in the building and development industry. I'm really proud to share that the 2023 provincial housing target with 120% of our target is what we reached. And that is fantastic, and we're proud of it, and I'm really proud to host the Premier here because he's, I think, proud of us too, and that's really great. I'm also proud to say that we are one of just 19 Ontario municipalities to exceed our annual housing target. You know, 2023 was definitely a banner year with all the right elements in place. This year, our city systems continue to improve and evolve. We are doing our part to expedite building permits and looking at ways to streamline our application processes. While we look forward to a successful year ahead as well, and we're very grateful for the announcement yesterday because that will help us to continue to facilitate more housing in our community, because infrastructure is something that is extremely important when it comes to housing. And I want to give a quick shout out to Minister Surma, who was here, I think, at the end of January, and we were having a really great conversation about infrastructure and about how underground pipes might not be sexy, but you need them. You need them to be able to facilitate the growth that we want to see and the housing development that we want to see. So we do have some control over some of those elements, and we're doing our best as a city. But we know that there are some things we have no control over, and I know that everybody realizes that as well. We have things like labor costs and material costs and interest rates. And my understanding is some of those things are starting to settle out, which is, I think, really good news for us as a city, but also for the Premier and province's targets in terms of housing going forward. What I can guarantee to the people of our city and to the Premier is that we're going to continue to do our part. We're going to work closely with the building and development industry, with community stakeholders and providers to build the housing that our residents need and deserve, housing across the housing continuum. So very appreciative, Premier and MPPs, local MPPs, very appreciative of the province's investment, and look forward to working together towards our shared goals of affordable, attainable housing for people here in our city. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you very much. That's good.
We will now go to reporters' questions. Reporters, please line up at the mic behind me. It'll be one question, one follow-up. First question.
Hi, Premier. Matthew Van Johnson from the Hamilton Spectator. Thanks
Hi,
for
Matthew.
taking the time.
Thank you.
We're following a lot of housing in Hamilton is being built along the LRT route that the province is funding.
Yes.
And the province is buying close to 100 properties along that route to make that construction happen.
Yes.
A lot of our affordable housing partners locally say that they could add to affordable housing stock along the line if the province would commit some of that excess property to those builds. Is the province willing to do that?
Well, we're going to work hand in hand with the city of Hamilton. This is their city. It's not the province's city. I always say the cities know best, the towns know best where they want development and where they don't. The transit-oriented communities, yes, let's build on where the transit is and transit stops. I'm all for that, but what I'm not for is putting 4-story, 6-story, 8-story towers right dead center in a community with regular housing. You have to differentiate between putting 4 units in an existing house or your neighbor tearing down the house and putting a 4-story tower like Bonnie Crombie wants. I'm not for that. She may think she knows better than 444 municipalities. I think the municipalities know better. I walked a mile in their shoes, and we're going to follow their lead. And if they want to put housing along those lines, absolutely, we're there for them. But I look forward to working with the mayor on this.
Right. Now, it is going to be provincially owned property. The province is going to be one of the biggest landowners along that LRT line. But affordable housing providers need help to build. Are you willing to commit some of that property?
Yeah, we may own the land, but the people that direct the building, the density, and where they want it is going to be the city. We're going to work with the city, and if they want certain type of housing there, then God bless them. That's great. We need to keep building those homes, especially around transit stations. That's where the density should go.
This question's for the Premier. Hamilton has been told by the province many times it can't reach its housing targets unless it expands outward into the Greenbelt, for example. Today demonstrates that the city has been able to meet housing targets by increasing density within its urban boundary. What do you say to that, especially now that you've said you're still focused on building single-family and townhomes?
Well, I say congratulations to Hamilton. They've shown the will. They've shown that if you want to get something done, they do it, and they've done an incredible job with the mayor and council and staff. So where there's a will, there's a way, and I just want to congratulate them on well over 4,000 homes that they built and over 120% of their targets. So we're going to be working with them. So congratulations to the folks here in Hamilton.
And this question's for the mayor, Mayor Horwath. You've said the biggest disappointment with the city's budget this year is how much taxpayers are making up for costs that should be covered from the province. Have you pressed the Premier on that today, and how did it go?
The Premier and I didn't have a chance to speak in any detail, but certainly he's always willing to have those conversations. It's a conversation we have both provincially and federally in terms of the needs of our city and the needs for partnership. And I think that some of the announcement that came yesterday in terms of infrastructure is a signal that the province has been listening to municipalities, and through both the relationship that I have locally with our MPPs as well as the relationship I have with the Premier and the work that's being done at organizations like the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. I think it's becoming more and more clear that nationwide we need to have those partnerships in place to solve some of the really challenging situations that we have with folks in need, with affordable housing, mental health and addictions, things that can't be borne only by the municipal taxpayer, and I think that's a live conversation that's continuing. Thank you.
Hi, Premier.
Hi.
Laura Stone, Globe and Mail.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. I'm not understanding this opposition to fourplexes coming out so strongly from you. We're not talking about 8-story apartment buildings. We're talking about sometimes converting a home or building up to 4 stories. Where is this coming from? And you're being called a NIMBY, a gatekeeper for your opposition to this. Isn't it all hands on deck to solve the housing crisis right now?
Well, I'm not too sure. Do you live in a condo or a house? Because I'll tell you one thing, if I put a 4-story tower beside you or your neighbors that lose their minds. If I went down the street or up in Ancaster and right in a beautiful community and threw a 4-story tower right beside homes that lose their minds. Stony Creek as well, Waterdown, I could keep naming everywhere in Hamilton, and I'm not speaking for the mayor, but I'll tell you one thing. You have a community with single dwelling homes and you put a 4-story tower, your neighbor tears down or sells their place, I'll tell you that you wouldn't hear, they wouldn't stop screaming, the neighbors. We can reach our densities. There's a difference between putting 4 units in a single housing complex versus 4, 6, 8 stories. You know, I just got off the phone with a gal that called me, and they're putting a 6-story tower, not here in Hamilton, right behind her. And the neighborhood's up in arms. If you want to build density, just my recommendation, build it around transit, build it on major thoroughways, not dead center in the community. I don't know one community, no matter if it's here in Hamilton or Burlington or Oakville or Mississauga or Brampton, anywhere, you throw a 4-story tower up in a tight-knit community with housing, they'll lose their minds, mark my words. But they can run on doing that, destroying communities, because Bonnie Crombie thinks she knows better. I'm going to listen to the communities and work with the city councillors. But I will guarantee you, I've been in politics a long time, city councillor, I know what the communities want, and they do not want 4-story towers going dead center in their community. There's a difference there.
Okay, thank you. And just on next week's budget, can you give us a sense of what kind of budget we're seeing? Are times good? Are times bad? Are we, are we playing it safe? Are we looking at a bigger deficit? Is the economy slowed? Can you set this up for Ontarians on what we should expect from your government?
I'm going to leave that to the finance minister, but it's going to be a great budget. He's done a lot of work, and it's going to be a very balanced budget per se. We're going to focus always on supporting the 444 communities through infrastructure, like we announced yesterday, upwards towards $3 billion, and that's a record. No province or any government in Ontario has ever handed over $3 billion for infrastructure. But that's what people like to see. The water pipes, the sewer pipes that have been aging for 80, 90 years in some cases. We're going to focus on that. We're going to focus on making sure that we have good, affordable homes and also great jobs, bigger paychecks on the jobs as well. There's over 700,000 more people working today than there was 5.5 years ago. And we're seeing unprecedented investments here in Ontario. And I again predict we have to, sign these deals. But if these deals do get signed, there's $30 billion being invested into our province this coming year, not to mention the $28 billion in EVs. Matter of fact, P&H, I just had a note right here in Hamilton. They're investing $127 million to expand their facility here. Bimbo Bakery, I was there with the mayor. They were expanding. I think it was a year and a half ago. DeFasco is putting in electric arc furnaces. And with Algoma, that's like taking 2 million cars off the road. So Hamilton's a great place to invest, and there's more companies coming here. They want businesses here. They want great employment and good paying jobs. And the mayor's done an incredible job leading the charge on that. It's a spectacular place. So spectacular, 2 of my kids live in Hamilton. So there you go.
All right, Premier, good morning.
Morning.
So CTV has obtained data regarding clinics that have contravened the CFMA, including clinics that extra billed out for OHIP services. Now, the government's not giving the names of the clinics and doctors involved. Can you explain why, and should they be named?
Well, I'll talk to the Minister of Health about that, but under anything to do with health, I can promise you one thing: you'll be paying with your OHIP card. You're never going to be paying with your credit card, but I'll look into that for you, and we'll be able to get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Hello, Premier.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I closed my question that I had.
That's all right.
So you mentioned before that you're hearing from people that they don't want these fourplexes, and I just kind of want specifically, what are the reasons people are giving you? Is it just parking? Are there, what are the concerns?
Well, it's a combination of parking, but these fourplexes, matter of fact, the gal I was speaking to said there's a sixplex, 6 stories. And all of a sudden you have everyone looking in your backyard, parking, traffic. It just doesn't work in a community. It works on maybe major thoroughways where there's other tall buildings or apartment buildings. It works on transit-oriented communities. But this is a no-brainer. You don't put 4, 6, 8-story buildings in the middle of a community of single-dwelling homes. Go out, ask anyone with a home here, do you want a 4-story or 6-story tower behind you? Absolutely they don't. I know that. I'll guarantee it. There isn't a person I know that would ever want that breathing down their back. You walk out in their backyard and all of a sudden you see, 5, 6 people looking down on you. Put it on a main thoroughway where other buildings are, tall buildings. But don't build it in people's backyards. They will lose their minds. But I have an idea. Bonnie Crombie can run on that. I'll run on protecting communities, and we'll see what the results are. I know what the results are going to be.
Okay. So then just from my personal experience of being a person that lives in Hamilton, I live in a single-family home that has 3 units in it, 5 cars parking in 1 driveway, and I have the exact same thing. If I go outside, there's a million people. All these houses are being turned into apartment units. So what is kind of the stopping point here of building a fourplex that has places to park where people, can actually have their own home?
So density, I differentiate between putting 3 units, depending on the size of the home, or 4 units in some cases, rather than building height. Height in neighborhoods, you're looking down on everyone. And good for you for earning some extra rent. It helps out on a mortgage and that, so I congratulate you on that. That's fine. It's when you start getting into density, 4, 6, 8-story buildings in the middle of communities, people do not want it. You got to differentiate 4 units to a regular home, or 4 to 6, 8-story towers breathing down your back in your backyard.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, Joey Coleman.
Hi, Joey.
Your Building Faster Fund, your criteria for deciding the target is new housing starts, not housing approvals.
Yep.
As you're aware, many mayors are saying that this is not the measure they would use because the municipality does not build housing, it approves it. The city of Hamilton had 1 development that was 1,000 units last year. If not for that development, Hamilton would not have made its target. Are you standing behind this target or listening to mayors and considering changing it?
Well, let me tell you something. As a business person, I've got a lot of purchase orders. I don't pay up front until I get the product, right? That's as simple as that. So we'll work with the municipalities, but a lot of these developers, they'll pull out a permit and they won't build forever. And so we have to make sure we hold the developers accountable. If you're going to pull out a permit, if you're going to pull out an MZO, you better be ready to build. But we aren't cutting checks for a product we haven't seen yet. It's common business practice, and I think everyone could agree with that. You don't go into a store and give them cash and then wait, half a year before you get your product.
Question for Donna Scully, because it's in her riding.
Sure.
There are 2 urban boundary expansion applications now at the Ontario Land Tribunal, the Book Road lands and White Church. What is your position on urban boundary expansions in Hamilton?
Well, I would say that I don't intervene when it comes to the Ontario Land Tribunal. That will be a decision that will be made there. But as the Premier said, and working with the Mayor, I mean, we're very proud that the city has been able to exceed its target. It wasn't easy. Do I think that we have to continue to build more homes? Yes. Will it be a challenge moving forward? Absolutely. But I think that we've been able to see results from people putting their heads together, working with the provincial government, working with the councillors and working with builders who are genuinely interested in providing rental properties, purpose-built rental properties and homes within the community. But in terms of any decision at the Land Tribunal, I'll leave it up to them.
Hi, Premier. Al Sweeney from CACH News.
Hi, Al.
I wanted to ask you about the Stony Creek parking lot, which is a huge issue in Hamilton. You've commented on it before. If it's not appropriate to force communities to take 4-story or 6-story buildings that they don't want, is it appropriate to force Stony Creek to take residential construction on this parking lot, which people rely on to access downtown, to go to businesses downtown, and churches and medical centers?
Fair enough. That's going to be a local issue. That's going to be up to the mayor and city council to decide. Like I said when I was reading my speech here, I'm not going to interfere in the communities. That's going to be up to them to determine what density, what areas, where they want to build, where they don't want to build, where they want to build homes versus, other types of buildings. So I'm going to leave that up to the municipalities. It's none of my business. That's going to be up to them. And I trust they'll make the best decision on that.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about was if it's inappropriate to force communities to take 4-story buildings. In Burlington, in the downtown area, which is a residential area around City Hall, they've been forced to take 20 and greater story buildings that were opposed by the community. Was that a mistake?
Well, again, that's going to be up to the city to decide, if there's a transit-oriented community, and I don't know what piece of property you're talking about. Is it beside a GO train station? Well,
Actually, no.
Okay. Yeah. But if you're building by a GO train station, yeah, there has to be density. But that's up to the municipality to determine, not up to the province. The province didn't force that on anyone. If they went to the land tribunal, we don't get involved in the land tribunal. That's up to them. So just keep building in the right spots. The city knows best. The townships know best. And they're the ones who issue the building permits, not the province.
This will be the last question.
Good morning, Premier.
Morning.
I just wondered about your thoughts as you measure the progress that has been made to date for housing across the province against what we see out in front of City Hall here with the tents and so many other locations throughout the city where we have encamped residents.
Yeah, well, we supported Hamilton doing a $38 million last year for homeless programs. We increased our spending across the province upwards to $700 million. But we have to provide all types of homes, affordable homes, nonprofit homes, regular homes, and that's what we're planning to do. And we're going to just keep building. That's the name of the game here.
So do you agree with 4 units in a house? You just don't want a 4-story building?
That's correct.
So, why can't you allow 4 units in a house then?
I said we would allow, and that's up to the municipalities. Keep in mind, some have it already, some don't. I think Toronto is 3. I think in Peel, I think it's 4. That's going to be up to each individual municipality to choose. But I think within the structure, a regular house, they have a nanny suite. That's no problem, and that also helps the owner pay down a mortgage. And as for mortgages, the Bank of Canada has to lower these interest rates. They're going to kill people another year or two, and when they renew it, they're going to get a shock. We need to bring down the interest rates, make it affordable. If the Bank of Canada lowered their interest rates, even down to below 4%, you'd see homes pop up like mushrooms all over this province. So the Bank of Canada, needs to lower these interest rates, because if not, people are going to be in deep trouble in another year or two when they start renewing their mortgage. It's not fair. We're below the inflation rate. They kept saying anywhere from below 3%, then we'll drop it. Well, it went to 2.9. Now it went down to 2.8. Like, come on, give the people a break. That's it.
Sure, we'll take more.
Oh, that's.
You're all good.
Well, you want me to start rattling off everything we've done, I'll be here till tomorrow. Anyways, I just want to thank the mayor, council, and staff. Thank you so much, Mayor. We're going to work with you and help you any way we can. We're very grateful for the relationship with the folks here in Hamilton and our great 2 MPPs that represent 2 great ridings. So thank you, everyone. God bless. Thank you.